So, hey, Tofu.
Like this for my
What's your vice, Tofu? Okay. What does the word vice like mean to you? Like when you think of that word, like
Escape.
what does that mean?
An escape. Something that you can escape with.
To me, I mean, vice is like, I think technically, isn't it something that like has a hold on you?
Yeah.
Avoid thinking about an addiction. I think some people could be addicted to being sad.
But I believe it could be like the form of attention that comes around that as well, than just like the form of depression.
Would you guys like to like share what's like your vice?
I don't have any vices. I'm actually perfect.
Okay.
I actually don't have anything wrong with me. Nothing.
Womp womp.
No, actually, I think
Interview over. All right, I'll take good.
I'm perfect.
I think at one point I was probably addicted to women.
Like sex.
Yeah, but not just even sex. It's really intimacy, like women, because sex is not really
Intimacy.
that great
Or
all the time.
connection, yeah.
You know, it's
No.
like sometimes you just like a person. You know, you want a person to be around you and
Like the establishing the connection.
yeah, for sure. To the point where it's unhealthy. Like you said, too much of a good thing, man, it's always gonna turn into something else.
Yeah, definitely. Certain people have definitely been a vice for me.
Yeah, so
Before.
you said people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can understand that. Getting off on a person's existence.
Right, right, for sure. And maybe
Just be here. But alcohol also.
Alcohol. Okay. And why?
Psychedelics.
What does that do for you?
feels good.
I feel like for me, alcohol eliminates the wall I put up without me having to think about it.
Okay.
That's very.
That's real. That's real.
I think over the quarantine, over the pandemic, I developed a vice for weed. Heavily, definitely. A lot of weed. And to the point where I had to do multiple, like,
okay.
you know,
Yeah.
cleanses
Let's
where it's like-
file for it back. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, this is definitely becoming and just all kind of substances. You know, me and I were just talking about it, how, you know, when we were creating our album, we had our own substance kick to the point where it was like, you know, we had to kind of, hold on now.
Yeah, like, ooh.
Are we, you know...
We are doing drugs.
Yeah, it's like, is it something where it's like, and you don't, I personally am not one of those type of people that like to develop dependencies on anything, but definitely when it comes to creating in music, you know, like when I feel like I need this to be able to create or do anything, like, no.
Gotta chill.
Got to, have to.
Okay. What about you, Mr. Quiet Man? What's your vice?
I want to say, I mean, like, I was like, one of the earlier ones I felt like I had was really big was like porn. But like,
yeah,
you know, but like, even like kind of growing out of that, it's always kind of been like food. It's kind of been like, the food's always kind of been like the underlying one in my family. Like, even going back, and it was just like, watching like parents and stuff kind of go through their treatment for that, and you know, kind of, because it's even worse when you're like a ridiculously picky eater, so you're really eating the same over and
very
over for comfort food. So,
very.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say bland,
I'm
but
telling you, like, they were smoking it up. I was ordering the fuck out
DoorDash.
of Postmates, DoorDash. Like,
oh man, fuck. Food is a fucking vice. No, like honestly, like myself, I realized, like looking at how much money I spent on DoorDash,
Postmates.
Man.
Postmates door, like, what the fuck? Like, no, that's a unhealthy ass vice. Unemployment checks and just like throwing and then giving them $10 tips and shit.
Like, I feel good today.
Yeah.
I'm like, man,
strong unemployment, muscular
hefty unemployment.
Telling you, niggas spending regularly $100 on weed every 3 days.
Exactly, like.
Passing me the phone, like, get what you want, though.
You know, like, come on, man.
Okay. Nah, honestly, see, look, I ain't do that. I'm glad I didn't though. I ain't need to.
I had a little bit of a shopaholic kind of vice thing, where it was like I was just kind of like, oh damn, I want this.
Amazon Prime.
I want this.
When Amazon was at the door every day.
It was Amazon, Postmates, delivery.
Like, look, they was working. They was working. Man. So, do you think vices can be a healthy thing? Like, having a vice?
I mean,
sometimes, because I know some people that get addicted to like exercise or get addicted to doing something, reading or just doing like actually diving into something and completely spending all your time doing it, even if it's not like drugs or something, but completely forgetting about everything else and just doing that. I see that as a vice, because you tend to start neglecting other stuff. You have to have a balance.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like I feel like if it just has to have any kind of thing like that, it has to have a balance. Like even if you're addicted to getting money, you know what I'm saying, like working and like doing and you might have a positive motivation, you might, you know, behind it, like, man, I'm trying to get a bunch of money so that I can, you know, save for this car or get a bigger house or for my kids or whatever. It's like you still have to balance it with being able to, you know, spend time,
nurturing your relationship.
Exactly. You gotta
I would say because it kind of seems like it's like what is it that is having a hold on you? Yeah. Because like, you know, certain things do just latch on. Like with the series vice versa, some start off as like a nice ease, and then like more and more you notice, and then like indulge into it yourself. You're just like, oh shit, this thing's really got me out of control, out of my control at least.
Yeah. It's like you have to, if you don't have it in control, I feel like, but if you have it in control, is it a vice?
I mean, like, it's like, I feel like it's more of a vice once you lose that.
Well, like, would you say, because, you know, you mentioned addiction earlier, would a vice be, like, less than that then? Because an addiction is something that, you know, is very, very hard to break. You might have to go to therapy. Like, are vices that thing? You know what I'm saying?
Actually, you're right. No,
yeah, that's why I was like, I consider it different. Like, a vice doesn't necessarily have to have a hold on you. That's when the borderline, it becomes an addiction.
For sure.
It can just be
just your thing. Because everybody has a vice. Everybody's got vices, for sure. So.
It's just when you lose that balance, that's when it becomes unhealthy.
Yeah.
For sure. You're right. You're right.
I would say, like, for me, like, making music, of course,
definitely
is that for me. I don't know, it just feels weird. Like when I don't do it for a while, it just like I you know, it's almost like I'm scratching myself. Like it's like, damn, like I'm really itching. And then when I create, I just like, it's like a flood of just
ideas.
So
I definitely feel that. Sometimes I'm one of those people where I just feel it. If I'm not being creative, after a while I notice it openly, like, damn, it's been a minute since I've made something, you know, like I've written something, or I've made a beat, or I've tried to make, like, you just realize it after a while, like, you know.
Yeah, because I start feeling really bad about myself if I haven't created anything in a long time, and then that's when the like starting becomes the hardest part.
Yeah. Definitely, I definitely feel that, man. So I just want to tell y'all a little bit about the album. So Vice is, it's definitely about vices, but it's kind of like Audie and I exploring like our own depression and like what we use as vices to kind of like just listen to the album to kind of like, I wouldn't say suppress the depression, but not address it. And it's like basically what we do in order to kind of like not even address it or deal with our depression, so we just dive into something else, like, because sex is talked about a lot. For me, I noticed like with this album, no matter if the song was like about money, about depression, like straight up depression, about love, about doing drugs, I always mention sex in each verse. And I was like, in discovering, like, after just listen to the whole shit, it's like, damn, I can't create shit without mentioning that. And I was like, I'm really addicted to that shit, and it's just very interesting to me or whatever. And Audie, her shit is money.
Yeah.
Money, like gang, shoot 'em up, money, like, and she don't want to be on no peasantry shit, just being a boss ass bitch. You a pet, like, she's just like, and it's
a lot to do with her upbringing too.
Yeah. Oh, of course, it's like, I mean, and it's so, it's so interesting, like the fact that you mentioned cultures, because it's like, I just grew up in America. Like, my family was slaves. Like, her family is Native Africans. Like, that's the first, like, person who I've been, like, very, very close with, and they're black, and they have completely different cultures and their viewpoints on things, and even how she deals with her, her shit, and how I deal with my shit. Like, me, shit, another one of my vices is weed. The fuck? I smoke every fucking day. And that it is what it is. Well, Audie, that's her alcohol, her shit. Like, she like, what? I'm drinking plum wine. Let's get it, And it's hella cool. Like, with me, I can't create unless I smoke something. And so that's how I realized, like, yeah, like, this shit is a problem. When we were creating this album, like, we was doing that shit heavy. Yeah. We were just smoking, drinking, and creating, smoking, drinking, and creating, smoking, drinking, creating. And it, our album was born or whatever. But one thing that we explored was like different. There's all types of genres in this shit. Like, we kind of really just pushed ourselves to just to be great in some aspect while like just literally dumping all of our issues into this album. Like, y'all really gonna really like, yo, these bitches, damn, okay. Nah, but that's the reason why we named this shit Vice, because like each song represents some form, and it's not just drugs, it's not just that, and it's depression, and it's a person being craving a person and craving their attention and just their presence. It's a lot of that. We have one song called Pretty Girls on Drugs, and it's like from the perspective of like Audie speaks from the perspective of, I'm in love with this girl, but she can't see it because she's just like, she's just too fucked up. And then me, I'm playing a bitch that I am playing a pretty girl on drugs, but it's like I'm like, man, fuck this nigga. And I kind of explain my viewpoint as to why, like, I am this way.
It's like introspective.
Yeah, it's very introspective. So it's like, it's really cool. Audie definitely, she fought for that song, and I'm glad she did, because that shit is amazing. It's a great story. But
I think it's very few perspectives. I think there's very few songs that explore that perspective too.
Yeah.
From a film's point of view, you know what I'm saying? A lot of, especially in hip hop, with most dudes, they talk about women on drugs, and it's very like
She just popping her pussy and da 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 da. You know.
In a way, it just kind of, it seems like they're looking down, even if it's not like she's popping her pussy. It's like, oh, you could doing drugs. You could be doing so much better.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, that. Yeah, I got you.
You know, it's like it's definitely. It definitely should be more people that explore it from like you know, I'm in it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank y'all so much for doing this, y'all. The first people I interviewed, we have Nahncenz. We have Alan Thomas.
That's me.
And we have Naya Lyrical. And these two are also the Family Orchestra.
Right.
Gang, shoot 'em up. Thank you so much for having the Queendom interview. Ta-da.